I have never felt this much dread in my life before.
We were told to go to school, get good grades, get a good education, right? I did that. At one point, I'm sitting at my job. I'm like, man, they lied to me. I'm like, this is supposed to be the American dream? Working 60, 70-hour work weeks. By the way, my wife is doing the same thing. And, every Sunday night I'm seeing this look on her face because as the sun begins to set, her face begins to drop. Because what?
Monday's getting closer.
Monday's getting closer.
I'm working on this project, but I still have my regular day-to-day duties that I'm doing. And just imagine getting these super long Slack messages back to back telling you that you need to do this, you need to change this.
It's almost like you have to ask for permission to be sick. You have to ring them up, convince them that you're sick enough to not come into work and hope that they're okay with it. It's a whole anxiety in itself.
And I try to explain my situation. He says it doesn't matter and basically goes on to tell me about how my life outside of work does not matter because I am obligated to do whatever I have to do to come in and work for the grocery store.
I don't know what's going on in the universe, but it seems like every time I open up my YouTube, my TikTok, my Instagram, someone is quitting their job. Everyone's quitting their job. So many people are quitting their job, but I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons that I think that people are tendering their resignations in 2024. Hello everyone, my name is Rogan and this is Bahamian Gyal. On my platform, I do social commentary and reaction videos. I encourage my audience to have private conversations in public. Before I get started, I want to thank all of my channel members of all levels for their support over the years. If you're interested in becoming a member, all the details are down below in the description box. Also, merchandise is on the way, so stay tuned for that. When it comes to people quitting their jobs, I don't think that there are a lot of new reasons why they're walking away. I don't know if I'm just more aware of it or more people are actually walking away from their jobs, but I do know that the mentality has changed. It's crazy, and I said this in the introduction of this video, how many people have walked away from their jobs or announced that they are about to tender their resignation. There is a huge number of people who are doing it these days. I remember how, like my mother's generation, where like if you got on a job, that was the job you were on for life. People would be retiring with that company. And now you see a lot of people, and it's not just Gen Z, it's not just millennials, it's a lot of different people who are saying, I am just so unhappy. I am so frustrated on this job. I'd rather just quit. And you'll find that there are people who are quitting with nothing lined up. I have read and heard people say that people don't quit bad jobs. They quit bad management. I know a lot of times people talk about the pay, and we'll talk about that in this video a little later on, but bad management really can run an employee out of the job, like right out the door. A lot of the people who I've worked with, and even myself, if I quit a job, it was rarely because of the money. I have stayed in opportunities and jobs before where the money wasn't like amazing. It was good, but it wasn't amazing, mind-blowing money. But I stayed put because I was comfortable in the environment. It made me feel respected and loved. And my management was awesome, like chef's kiss, where they were compassionate and caring. If I had a family emergency, they were like, go handle your business. We got it. And those were the jobs what I respected the most, the ones that made me feel not like a number, but like a human being, and they would look out for me. And when you find yourself in an environment where, the job looks out for you, you look out for the job if you're a decent person. You don't take advantage, you look out for the job as well. But I've also been in environments where management just sucked, where you can tell like there was absolutely no training. They probably just got the position because, they were there the longest time, or they may have been good with numbers, but they weren't good with people. Like sometimes people think, well, that person sold $6 million worth of products or whatever, so they'd make a good manager. No, that does not make a good people manager. That makes a good salesperson. So sometimes they put them in the wrong positions, the wrong roles. And so those individuals, because they have no management training, will make their subordinates' lives miserable.
Long story short, I had a situation where I called out and I wasn't able to come in. And I have been in a few accidents because of not sleeping and didn't want to run into that situation again. So after having a conversation with my wife, she said the best thing for me to do is to call out. At this point in my timeline of working at this job, I've never called out before. So I gave a call to let my manager know I wasn't coming in. Another manager answered the phone, said, your manager isn't here yet, but it's okay. This will be your one freebie. As I come in to inform my manager about my apology, before I can even get anything out, he's immediately talking about how I didn't come in. And I try to explain my situation. He says it doesn't matter, and basically goes on to tell me about how my life outside of work does not matter because I am obligated to do whatever I have to do to come in and work for the grocery store. Also at the time, my son was having some problems sleeping, so I wanted to stay home to help my wife with that as well. As soon as I mentioned my son, he said that your home life is something you have to have handled outside of work. That has nothing to do with me. And yeah, I think it's crazy to see how different managers, and I feel like corporate America in general, just doesn't care about their employees.
We also hear about micromanagement. One thing I don't do well with, and I could tell you, I'm saying this from personal experience, and anybody who's worked with me and I've had success with them knows that let this girl do her thing uninterrupted. Just let, check in from time to time, but let her do her thing. And I know so many individuals who are the same way, who are like, I just want to be able to do my job. I had a boss one time who said, I don't hire professionals to tell professionals how to do their jobs. A word. If you have to tell the professional constantly how to do their job, and you have to stand over them like a helicopter boss, and you have to say, do it this way and that way and this way and that way, then you might as well do it yourself. You don't need an employee. Just do it yourself.
The reason I actually decided to start my company is because I was experiencing significant issues at work in my previous role. And the main issues that I was experiencing is micromanagement, and my line manager would constantly every day scrutinize my work, and it's had an incredibly negative impact on my self-esteem and also my abilities, or how I perceived my abilities to be. Every day I went into work, my work would just get absolutely destroyed. Anything that I would submit, everything was wrong all the time. And this just led me to really burn out and be just so exhausted. I used to have such bad anxiety as well. Like every time I received a message, or every time, something happened, I would just really just be fearful that something I've done was wrong.
That micromanagement is so frustrating for so many people. When you have toxic bosses who don't know how to talk to you, they're disrespectful, they have little snide remarks, hurtful things that they say. Even if they don't say it to you, they say it to a colleague, that will bother you. So dealing with these poor, toxic, don't know how to manage bosses is enough to allow or to make someone say, you know what, I've had it with this environment. I don't care that it pays a lot of great money. I don't care that I like my coworkers. This is not an environment I want to go in day after day. So people definitely don't quit jobs. They quit managers.
I don't know about y'all, but I would rather work for a great manager in a questionable company than work for a poor manager in a great company. I would do everything in my power to get out of that department. But if you're in a small organization, hard to do. The impact that your manager has on your mental health and your career is big. I'm no longer willing to take the hit to my income, which is what you lose money working under a poor manager. And I'm not about to let an incompetent, aggressive, insecure manager, which these are the types of people you don't want to work for, I'm not about to let them make me question myself. This is why when I interview, I bring my full self, because if they have an issue with my personality type or me, I don't want to work for you. I've been a manager and I've had people tell me I don't like this company, but Tanya, I'm staying with you as long as you're here.
Lack of communication. How many times have you been on a job where you may have concerns about what you're doing? You may have concerns about the environment in which you work in. Let's just say you worked in a factory. And you're like, I have a safety concern, and it's like you're gaslit all along the way, or your boss doesn't take your concerns seriously, or you're watching people get hurt, and it's like, y'all aren't even communicating with us to tell us what you're doing, what you're going to do to help the situation or any of that stuff. There's just no communication, or there are crazy expectations on you, but the person who is above you is not articulating what it is that they want you to do. That lack of communication can really affect the employee. I like organizations that say, listen, I have an open door policy, and you can be in an office with your door closed, because having the door open doesn't mean you have an open door policy. Let me just go on record as saying that. because that door could be wide open and you could be closed off to anything the person says, and your door can be physically closed and you could be open and receptive to what the person has to say. But I like those environments, and I'm sure a lot of people do as well, where you can truly go to your boss and say, I have a problem, and then they'll be like, let's try to solve this. How do we remedy this? Let's try this, that, and the next. Versus someone who sees your complaint or your query or anything as something like a reason to be combative. So a lot of people will walk away from that because it's like, every time I try to communicate with my boss, it's an issue, or they're not listening to me, or they're gaslighting me. So the communication isn't there. I don't think I can work with this person, so I might as well just skedaddle. And speaking of lack of communication, one of the things that I hear a lot of people complaining about, and this is in my friends circle, this is in my work circle, this is in my this is on social media as well, is about these stupid meetings that could have been an email. I mean, that could be the name of a book. I find that a lot of these places on the surface, they say we want to communicate. So they have these meetings, but it's not communication. It's basically one directional communication where they just tell you what to do and you scatter and you go and affect whatever change they want. If you're going to do that and not have a two-way street communication, then you might as well just send an email. And so a lot of people are frustrated with these multiple emails, multiple meetings that they have to go to with their bosses, only for them to just hear what they need to do. But there's no real communication where the employee might say, listen, I need you to understand why I'm unable to do X, Y, Z. If you're the type of boss who's not listening to that person, then what's the point of this meeting? Just send an email, just send a directive, and just keep it pushing. This next reason is something I think we are not paying attention to enough. There are people who give Gen Zs, for example, a poor reputation, saying, oh, they're so lazy, they don't want to work. I don't necessarily believe that. I think you have lazy people who are boomers, lazy people who are Gen Zs, lazy people who are millennials. They're lazy all over. But you have some hard workers in those groups as well. And what I've realized is like a lot of people are just sick and tired of being used and burnt out from the job. Work-life balance is a serious thing, and everybody is not interested in tiring themselves out for somebody else's job. When you find yourself working 12-hour days or 15-hour days, or taking work home with you, and I've been in positions like that before, and it did not work out for me, because the older I get, the more my work-life balance matters to me. At some point, it has to cut off, right? And so that's one of the things I hear a lot from people online, which is like, I'm extremely burnt out. I feel anxious. There's a great deal of anxiety when Sunday comes because I'm thinking about Monday. That's no good quality of life. That's not even living, because it's like, if you are dreading the Monday morning in the office or Monday morning, whatever, that's an indication to you that this might not be a good fit.
We were talking about how we're all excited for our vacation. That's all people talk about at work, waiting for vacation. They live to wait for vacation. I said, I only have 2 weeks of vacation, and like, it's 10 days. That's all you get. You work your whole year to give your time and your soul to someone else to help build their company, and in exchange you get 10 days. Ooh. So it's like, wow, you're the rest of the time you're just slaving away like for a company, and then you get 10 days. Ooh. And he said, yeah, welcome to the real world, but you're still young. You've barely started in this career. You've only been doing it for about 3-4 years now. And maybe in a few years, in 3-4 years, you'll have 3 weeks. And then, when you're like that other guy, and he pointed to a colleague, he said, well, you'll, after 15 years of working, you'll get 4 weeks. He's about to get 5. What? No, it's never been about the money. I don't care about money. Cut my salary in half. I don't care. I want control over time. I'm at the office and there's no work left to do, and it's 3 p.m. and you do this, waiting for 5 p.m. to come, and you feel your soul slipping away, like just wasting away.
I am of the belief, and I don't care, some people would say, well, it's work. It's supposed to be work. I don't want to spend a lot of hours doing something that I don't enjoy, around people who don't respect me, around people who don't value what I do. And I don't want to take work into my weekend and work into my evening and work over my family. I don't. When I'm to work, I am not one of those people who is like, I got to be on the phone and do work is work for me. So when I'm home should be home for me. You know what I'm saying? Hearing people talk about burnout is a real thing. I'm sure many of you have seen that video and the news report about this employee at Wells Fargo who was dead for 4 whole freaking days at work and no one knew. That is madness. Madness.
A Wells Fargo employee went to work the morning of Friday, August 16th and never went home. Tempe police tell 12 News 60-year-old Denise Prudhomme scanned into work at 7 o'clock in the morning. 4 days later, police responded to the office building near Washington Street and Priest Drive for reports of a subject down. They say a colleague found Prudhomme dead at her desk in a cubicle while walking around the building on Tuesday, August 20th.
Body was there about 4 days before anybody found it, before anybody walked up to her and just to say hi, make sure she's okay.
And all you can hear is a statement from the company like, we're so sorry that, you know, and we offer our condolences and da-da-da. And they move right on, honey, and they employ someone else. So why are you killing yourself, literally killing yourself on a job and burning yourself out and missing crucial moments with family members and all that stuff? Jobs are important. It's how we pay our bills. It's how we take care of our families and stuff. But if you are so burnt out to the point where you are mentally gone, physically experiencing changes, and you're not happy, then what's the point? That's a big red flag and a reason why a lot of people are walking away from a lot of these jobs. And the jobs just don't care. It's like a revolving door. They hear their staff complaining about being burnt out, and it's like, it's a job. And this all goes in line with company culture too, because if you have a group of people who are of the mindset that it's work and you're supposed to just kind of drudge along and just work, and that's the mentality, you're going to find yourself at odds with those individuals. If you're somebody who is extremely work driven and you are in a company that is a little bit more laid back, that's going to drive you crazy. So company culture and fit is extremely important. I want to talk about the next reason why a lot of people leave. It's because of low pay. I remember 4 years ago, $100 could go quite far in the food store. The other day, I was at the Harris Teeter, and my bill came up to $107. $107 or $102? $102. And if I show you my grocery list, I wish I hadn't torn that up. I wish I hadn't torn it up so you guys could see. It was like such minimal groceries. And a lot of it was vegetables and water. And I'm like, well, damn, I'm on the rabbit diet. I mean, I don't know diet, but I'm just saying, like, I'm on the rabbit diet with this thing. I had one meat, which was like a whole chicken for $8. And I'm spending $102. That's madness. And so with the cost of living going up, people are taking second jobs, doing ride share, doing all these other jobs just to make a living because the salaries aren't keeping up with the inflation. As a result, people are like, I'm doing too much over here for no money. So I need to move somewhere else. I need to go to another job that's going to pay me more. I don't think it's even fair for people to have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet, just to pay your rent. When do you have time just to relax? 2 and 3 jobs. I knew a guy from Bangladesh who worked 3 jobs. And I just used to feel, every time he told me all the stuff he did, I used to feel tired. I used to be so exhausted. Like, bruh, you're working too hard. So, you know, a lot of people just like, I'm giving up these 2-3 jobs. I want one job that brings in the money and that's it. And so as a result, people are like, if you can't give me more money, and a lot of these jobs are like, oh no, we can't pay you any more money. Okay, so see you later. And the minute you say see you later and you're walking out the door, all of a sudden it's like, wait, we can offer you a little bit more. And another reason why people are walking away from their jobs is lack of benefits. It's not enough anymore to just have a salary. It's not. And especially the older you get, health costs go up. I don't care how healthy you are. Even if you have health insurance that's outside of your job and you have to pay for that health insurance on your own, you're going to be paying a higher premium. This is why a lot of people want to get into jobs that are paying a good salary and handling those benefits, having pension plans. You'd be surprised how many companies out here don't have health insurance plans or don't have pension plans in any way, shape, or form. You cannot, if you're an employee, stay in an environment like that unless they have some plan to turn it around in the next 6 months or a year. Why would you invest so much time into a place, especially getting older, that is not giving you the proper benefits? And so I tip my hat to those individuals who are like, no, this is not good enough for me. I got to make this move. I gotta go. I want to read some information from a survey that was published by resumebuilder.com. And this was in July, that said that nearly 3 in 10 full-time workers are likely to quit their jobs in 2024. I believe that. In fact, I think it's higher, because I've known in the past 6 months, I probably know 12 people who quit their jobs. Shoot, that number might be higher. I just know too many people in the past 6 months who have quit their jobs. According to the survey, 56% of workers quit over low pay. So 56% of these people, when they quit, it's because of low pay. 43% is over stressful environments. 44% is for better benefits. So this is right in line with what I'm saying. Them benefits, the money, the stressful environments. Nobody's going to take that, especially now when you have like other options. People will quit a well-paying job to go and do a ride-share job just to have peace of mind. And I can't say I blame them. I want to talk about the people who are quitting with nothing lined up. You know, I used to be one of those people who used to say, you got to be out of your mind. You don't quit no job without having another job lined up. Let me tell you something. When you're in an environment that is so unhealthy and so toxic that it is affecting you physically, emotionally, mentally, it's best you quit that job. Hopefully, even without having anything lined up, you have some money or somebody who can assist you during that time, because the last thing I would want is for someone to snap on their job and attack someone and hurt someone. And I certainly wouldn't want them to drop down dead on their job because they are so massively stressed out because of what's happening. Anyway, let's talk down below in the comments section. Are any of you who are watching this video thinking about quitting your job in the next 3 months? 6 months? Ciao. Some of y'all in the comment section might say y'all ready to quit your job in the next 3 to 6 days. Tell me down below. What's the reason why you think you're going to walk away from your job? If you have quit your job already, why? What was the catalyst? What was the main reason why you were like, I'm out? Have any of you quit over micromanagement? How did that affect you? Also, for those of you who quit because you wanted more pay or more benefits, do you have any regrets? Let's just talk down below in the comment section. I love you guys. Don't forget to follow me on my blog at thisbahamiangyal.com. Sign up for my newsletter. It's down below in the description box. And follow me on Instagram at the same handle, This Bahamian Gyal, and on TikTok at This Bahamian Gyal TBG. I love you guys. Give me a big kiss. Big kisses to you. Toodles. We'll see you next time. Bye.